Good morning, everybody, and we are live again with our SoulYumLife broadcast. And so all you out there listening, welcome to our next episode. We have an amazing guest named Nicole Sylvester. And like I always do, I don't try to act like I have all this thing staged. We just be ourselves. So I'm just going to read from my notes. I don't personally know Nicole. My wife, when she heard about her, she's like, "Oh, I love that girl," and Diana's like, "Oh, she's a badass. She's awesome. She's a powerhouse. She's like awesome." So I don't really know Nicole or anything about you, and these ladies do. And so I'm excited to get to know you and based off of their response about how they experience you. So what I've got here is it says Nicole Sylvester, notable mentions. She's an awakening mentor, a single mother. She's radically transformed her life, overcoming abuse, addiction. She's 15 times her business revenue in less than 1 year's time and still going. And her memoir is titled "Oh Shift," which is fucking awesome. I've said for years, like, shit happens until shift happens. So
True.
I love the memoir titled "Oh Shift." And then the topic we're covering today is being on the path to higher self and also being playful and that it's okay to fuck up. So this is a topic Nicole suggested she would love to talk about being on the path to higher self, but being playful in the journey and being okay with fucking up. So very excited about this topic. It's something I'm passionate about, that we're passionate about as well. And then later on in the show, we'll tell you how to get a hold of her and reach her and connect with her to continue enjoying her yumminess. But without further ado, Nicole, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much. I love the introduction. And I love talking about fucking up and how it's just like a part of the process. And we can laugh at ourselves.
Yes.
So. Exactly. And before we dive in,
a lot of that.
Just a quick note to everyone. We're going to go ahead and everyone share this out and ask that you guys share this out. If you're watching, this is going to be an amazing topic. I'm super excited to have Nicole here with us. And if you are not on the SoulYumLife page commenting, we're not going to see you live. So if you're listening in from elsewhere, awesome. This is also a podcast, so rock and roll. But if you are on with us live here, please do click the video and come comment directly on the SoulYumLife page, like our page. We want to bring you into this conversation. This isn't a stuffy interview. We want engagement. We are all about the SoulYumLife, and we bring on people that we know are going to just totally rock your world. So without further ado, here we go.
And while you're out there, guys, doing that, just go ahead and share this, right? Let's just get this out there. Share it to your wall. Share it to your peeps. We're talking about amazing stuff. It's going to be tremendous value. It's going to make a positive difference in your life and in every, so the more we can share it, the better. So if you're willing, just while you're liking it and while you're commenting from our SoulYum page so we can interact with you, click share if you're willing. Let's get the word out.
If anyone, I was going to say too, if anyone's listening that wants to open a business or someone knows someone that's going to open a business, this will help them stop taking it so seriously, and it's going to push them into being more bold. So definitely share it with someone like that.
Yeah.
All right, so my share's done, and I'm excited to hear from you.
Okay. So do you want me I'll just say what I feel like saying. Something came up about this yesterday, and it's funny we have this topic because, hi, Carolyn, thanks for watching. So yesterday I talked to someone, and it was the second time this week someone said, "Yeah, but you're a good writer. Yeah, you're good on camera." And I said, no, I wasn't that. Like, it took me being so embarrassed and feeling like I don't have the vocab for this, or, what am I going to be judged for this or that, or I don't have the money. Why would I do this? I don't have experience in this. Why should I share this? It took all of that and pushing up against those thresholds to just be like, it's okay if I totally just screw this up. I'm never going to get there if I don't try it. So, it's funny that we have this topic today, and it's perfect timing for all of those people.
I love that. Yeah, Christopher, please.
Just everything that I've ever done, I did not want to be on camera. I did not want to be on stage. I did not want to be at the front of the room. I wanted to be either not in the room or at the back of the room where no one could see me. So anytime someone wants to make up a story or a belief that, oh, but you're good at that or whatever, really a lot of my journey and one of the key things I attribute a lot of my success to is that willingness to step outside that comfort zone and be human. You know, I think Diana and I were brainstorming taglines and names and stuff, and one of the things we were playing with was human as fuck.
Yeah, human AF.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
Yeah, I love this so much because it's so important. There's this myth out there that I see of this perfect package, and like there's this right way and this one way, and that's something that really drew me to your lives, Nicole, and just your energy was like, we talk a lot here about energy doesn't lie, and your energy is really good, it's really fucking clean and it's real. And you're not like, hey, I have it all together, and if you do this 9-step thing and do it just this way, you can be just like me. And there's just so much that I even think comes from people who have really freaking great intentions, but that are like parroting sort of this old way, and they're like putting new language on it, but it's the same old bullshit. So I see having this really fresh, yummy, like, this is me. Oh, and wait, that was me 5 minutes ago. Now this is me. And that's like our jam, is that authenticity is all about, it's ever unfolding. It's like who we are and be in each flowing moment, and it's being in our truth. So maybe you can speak to that, because it just is like total soul yum. And
I love that. Well, I'll say this, that when it comes to the online world of coaches, mentors, whatever, it's funny, I was thinking about this earlier. It's just, people think that they're going to hire a coach and that they're going to tell them like, this is how you get to 6 figures. Well, I can tell you how I got there. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you, because at the end of the day, what a coach and a mentor really is going to do is they're going to share some information and they're going to help you be bolder about your action. But we're all going to mess up. Hiring a coach or a mentor is not going to shortcut you into never messing up. If you were to never mess up, you would never grow, and you would actually be pretty lame if that were the case. So, you know, we're going through this and thinking, what if I was just totally me and I didn't have to lie about it? I didn't have to pretend. Like, you know, I was just at the beach like 20 minutes ago and I come here and I'm like, oh, let me fix my hair real quick and let me get on this. Like, because I go to the store in sweats and I want to feel like if I saw someone there, they would be like, yeah, this is Nicole. Like, you get the same me all the time. And that to me allows me a lot of freedom, because I don't have to put on a mask all the time.
And frees up so much energy and peace. Like, instead of like, how do I got to manage this? If you can just be you and not question your self-worth or like how they're going to respond or try to strategize every move based on what they're going to do with it. You just be you. The right people come into your life. The people that aren't going to be fun to deal with anyway go away.
Totally.
And you to be free and at peace and just be and free up so much energy. And from there, like, things can just align, because you're not, instead of playing a game of poker with life and everyone in your life, you can put down all your cards and play something else that doesn't require all the bullshit.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, then you get to see other people, because like, I'm sure you all living the way you live and to stay in integrity with what you feel, you know that we have to be around other people that are also unmasked and that are speaking. You go around someone that's not, you almost feel it, because it's like, oh, should I not be myself? Like, am I safe here? So it's just energetics don't lie, like we just said.
Yes.
What other people think of me is none of my business. I love that, John.
Yeah. Really appreciating the audience interaction. Guys, keep your interactions coming, your questions, your comments. It feeds us. It helps us engage with you. We don't want to speak to you. We want to speak with you. So have you be a part of the conversation. So share away.
Totally.
Yeah, there was something that shifted so dramatically in my life and the way I showed up when I started to be fully myself and show up in whatever way that was, not with the mask. Like, you know, sometimes it's like, oh, you're too much, or you're too playful, or you're too alive, or even in the times where I'm like quiet or whatever, it's like I can just be me in every single moment. And I remember a couple instances where I was going into this mastermind, and just, I don't even remember what it was, but it was like all these high end, you know, people that made a lot of money and stuff like that. And I noticed this fear show up, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say to these people? And like all this kind of stuff. And And it was so cute. And I was like, oh, I like caught it. I was like, oh, that's cute. And I was like, Megan, like, just be you. Just there's nothing you need to do. Like, you know, and that's what I talk about, you know, in what I do. And I talk about the feminine things. Like, I'm like, there's nothing you need to do. Just be yourself. Just be. And I was like, yeah, just show up and just be yourself. Yeah. And if I want, like, maybe I'll set an intention, like, how do I want to be? And yeah, I want to be connection with people and I want to be love or whatever. And then I show up in the room and I'm not in my story. I acknowledged it and I got present. And then I was like, yeah, I just got to be myself. And I showed up in the room and I remember that day so vividly, the impact that I made in those people's lives. I'm no joke. I made 3 women cry just by my presence. And I was just like acknowledging them. And they were like, oh, tell me about you. And I just showed up and I was just loving and I was connecting and playful. And I would share with them and there were like tears rolling down their cheeks. And I remember walking away and I'm like, there's nothing more beautiful than just being yourself in every single moment, whatever that looks up, showing up, being your authentic self, whatever that looks like. And that's what I do. Whenever I feel that fear sometimes, or like, okay, I'm going to get on a stage, or I'm going to, you know, when I'm getting ready for my event or different things like that, the fear that shows up, I'm like, it's okay to mess up. It's okay to be however you are. You know, if you're feeling scared, if you're feeling sadness, like whatever, just be you. Just come as you are. And when I do too, the connection and the transformation and the shifts, shifts that happen are amazing.
I love like come as you are. And I think everyone probably listening to this, and you can tell us if you have been listening and you can relate to that. Like you walk into a room with all of these people and you judge yourself and then you go into that space like you just described. And it's like that feeling, right? And I love the shift. And it's just a reminder of like the presence versus effort. And like presence. And it's like one of the shifters in my business. And even with anyone that's supporting anyone, or even if someone needs you, sometimes people only need your presence. They just need you to just be. And like, if we can ground and radiate whatever our intention is, that quality of love or peace or joy, or just those women were crying just because you were like witnessing them. And to be witnessed is one of the most healing things. And in this lifetime, like where we're at now, where people don't listen to each other. Yeah. Right. So it's just so beautiful and nurturing. I felt that while you were describing it.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah. The power of listening.
Yeah.
Mother Teresa said there's more people starving for attention in the world than there are starving for food.
Wow. I believe it.
Yeah.
Donna says simple truth. So true. It's so simple. We want to complicate it and look for all these like complicated answers and ways to be. And it's like, breathe, breathe and center. We can begin from there all the time.
And in the coaching industry, one of the things that's coming to my mind is the coaching industry. So being a coach, it can be easy to get sucked in a trap that our job is to give an answer. Right. And a large portion of the time, the best thing we can do is be with somebody, whether it's your spouse, your lover, your friend, your child, your client, whoever, to be with them and witness them and be present with them without needing to fix, to just hear and be with. A lot of the times, that's all that needs to be done. Way less talking, way more just being with.
Right. You nailed it. Like that's one of the things that I tell, because, you know, I think with new coaches, new people that are stepping into the space, they think that, well, in order for me to get paid, you know, thousands of dollars or whatever amount that they want to charge, I got to solve every problem of theirs. No, you don't. You're a mirror. You're a mirror. If we can do 2 things, and it's witness and mirror, you would be like one of the best coaches out there, because you'll actually care and you'll show people where they are saying no to themselves. That's really what we're here to do. Yes. Because I don't know what someone's highest vision for their life is. Only they know that, but they have to have the courage to say yes to it.
Yes.
And I love that you brought up courage, because that's what keeps percolating for me, is this courage to be who we are and be. Courage to show the fuck up. Courage to be yourself, whether that's messy, whether that's totally put together and that's just who you are. There was a comment earlier, someone was talking about like being a tomboy or and also wanting to be beautiful. Like, walk around who you are and having the courage, like Megan said, to show up and go, wait a minute, I am way more of service by being me rather than trying to collapse and fit into this container, because that is the social conditioning and programming of like, it's like literally pulled into us since we're babies, be this certain way, conform. We talked about the wiggle last week, how these babies go from having 3,000, was it Megan, expressions and like movements, and it gets down to what, 300 by the time they're 6? Am I remembering that correctly?
That's fascinating. I didn't even know. I mean, I can see that, but I didn't know the science behind it.
Yeah,
pretty
so they
cool.
put a baby. We have a newborn baby right here, and they put a newborn baby on the ground, and they're just like, wow, wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. And they put this Olympic athlete in elite fitness, as elite as they come, next to the baby, and said, mimic everything the baby does. And in 30 minutes, the Olympic athlete was completely wiped. Like, could not keep up with the baby. And it's attributed to that factor of, and it's not just the movements. That's expression, right? So you have over 3,000 different ways of expressing whatever moves through the baby organically without any stories or beliefs about it. But by age of 6, it's like, no, that looks weird. No, you can't do that. That's this, that's that. That's too feminine. That's too masculine. That's too whatever. And now we've got all these rules and stories. So not only can we only, our movement's gone down 1,000%, also our access to creative flow and inspiration and our natural organic desired expression, all of that is stifled to the same degree.
That's really fascinating. And speaking of babies, and we talk about this being messy, it's not a like, what if we're messy? We're fucking messy. Like, do you know how we're brought into this world? It's bloody, it's messy, it's gross. That's who we are. That's who we are. That's life. So when we pretend like that we're this or that, and we try to fit ourselves into these human containers, and we forget that like we are created from this creative intelligence, and that life is no black and white lines, even though our human self is like, give me all the black and white lines. I want all of the answers now. So when we just kind of lean in, we can say, none of this is real. None of this has to continue. I get to create again. And it's in that messiness of chaos that we can really find an order and design, help kind of fall into that design for us, our greater design.
As you shared that, I was thinking of something. I was working with Kathleen Hendricks a couple weeks ago, and she quoted Gay Hendricks, her husband, from the Hendricks Institute. And she said something like, believing, basically like, when you think that the past, when you're in the fear grip, it appears that your past has something to do with your future, or your present, right? So when we're in that moment, we're like, oh no, I'm broke, I'm scared, this problem, blah, blah. It feels like it's all consuming. But if you can go, I'm in this season right now of this pain and this chaos and this whatever, and I'm just going to breathe and love myself and be right here and be okay, get more comfortable in the discomfort, and like embrace this season as is, receive the information that's coming from this season, and know that just because I'm in this season right now doesn't mean I'm always going to be here. This isn't permanent. Totally. Just what's here right now. So how can I breathe? How can I be? How can I move and organize my breath, my posture, my state of being, my thoughts, my choices in such a way that I embrace this. I don't spiritually bypass it. I don't avoid it. I don't ignore it. I don't cover it with some positive shit. I be with it, but I also don't get stuck with it. And I know that this is just a season, that something completely different and amazing could be here tomorrow or the next day or right around the corner. So can I be with all of that and not get so caught up in each moment that I spiral down and ruin the next potential in the next moment?
That's beautiful. That's what like can get us. That's where we find that hope again in the so-called darkness, right?
Yeah.
So it's beautiful share.
The other thing that's kind of popping in my mind too is like how like we're bringing in this playfulness is like, how are we going to be with that? Like, how can we dance with this? That whatever they're experiencing, like, how can we dance with that? How can we play with it in the most fun and joyous way? So it's like, okay, chaos is here, right? Like, how do we want to dance with this chaos? How do we want to play with this chaos? Oh, messiness is here, or whatever it is. Like, let's play with this. Let's get messy. Whatever we want to do, like, how can we like not take shit so fucking serious all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, no, I was going to share, like, you know, it's funny because now my daughter is 12 and my niece is here. She's 11. And I'm like the more like playful, crazy one now because I'm big on dance parties. Not like I'm like the best dancer, but like I become that in my house. And like one thing I learned, you know, it was like I said, I 15 times my income still going. But how did I do that? It was like these shifts around forgiving myself for those times, like where you feel like, oh my God, life, like I'm broke. I have no money. Why did I spend it on this? Like, am I going to find a client? I mean, that was my reality just like, you know, over a year ago. And to be in that space, of like, whenever I'm feeling worried, whenever I'm doubting, whenever I'm feeling anything that's low frequency, and it's not that it's a bypass, it's okay, I can only like do this and begin from here. Now let me go into something higher. So then I play because I recognize I'm alive. My kid is alive right now. My parents are alive. People are here. I'm going to fucking enjoy this. And how can I drop into enjoying this now, knowing that I could lose all of my money and lose my house or whatever it is, but I still have all my treasures. And that's like when we get to play because we realize none of that rest is that serious. At least for me, that's what I do.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love that. And how to be in those spiritual experiences or like when you're in those emotions and things like that, like there's so many ways that we can experience that and ways that, you know, can spiral us down or like shift us back up. And I love that, you know, being playful with that, like, okay, like how is it that I can really raise my frequency? Like what's my soul yum here? What sounds most delicious to me right now? Whether that's like for me, like I get you, girl, like, okay, let's go have a dance party or, you know, I want to go out and swing on the swing, like as high as I freaking can for a full on hour. And yes, guys, I do. I'm 31 and I swing on swings for an hour. It's like my favorite thing ever. And it's just, as every swing, I'm just like, oh yeah, this is yum. Like I could be like in the shit and like an hour later, I'm like on cloud 9. And so it's like, cool, let's go play. Like I don't need to like dive into this and dissect it and be like, oh, like I gotta fix this. Like this needs to change now. Like what do I gotta do? Instead, like, hey, let's go play.
Yeah. And I think that you hit a distinction for me where it's like, because as women, like, you know, there are times where you're going to judge yourself as crazy if you're like paying attention because we're going through the full, like, you know, full spectrum of everything. And, you know, on one day I am like, my life is so together. I'm like in a creative, like high. And then it's like 2 days before I start bleeding and I'm like, fuck, you know? So then in those days, my playing sometimes is putting on music and like just feeling into sometimes that sadness feels yummy to me too, because I'm like really getting messages there and I'm tapping into this like other place within me. So I think that it's just like really getting out of our heads.
Yes.
And going in to like whatever's here in our body in the now.
Yes.
Yeah. Andrea's asking a question, or is it Andrea? Yeah. How do you be? Sorry if I'm answering your guys' question. Should I be letting you?
Go ahead, go.
Go, girl.
How do you be when you have so many expectations on you that you can't seem to meet? Well, those expectations you're choosing to engage in them. If your babies are crying and your house is a mess and there are expectations that you have to meet now, that's different. How do you let go of your guilt for not meeting expectations and just not the baby? Here's the thing, like as a single mom, people were like, you know, my clients were like, when you're writing your book, I want to know how you moved across country. Like my daughter's father's in jail. Like I'm totally single mother. We have like our family wasn't here. They're like, how did you survive? I wasn't the best mom. I was not trying to be a Pinterest mom and break like generational patterns of abuse and addiction and all these things. So there had to be times where I'm like, I'm honoring Nicole's potential and then I honor my role as a mother. So it's balancing also to what feels harmonious to us, because harmony is like the key of what we're looking for, because what's harmonious for me is not going to be harmonious for anyone else. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I love it.
So, and you know, I would dive in further, and I want to hear from Diana. I feel like we're not hearing a lot from her right now because we're talking so much, and she just holds that space. But I want to create some space for them. You know, expectations. So the whole world's going to place expectations on you. Many, many people are going to place expectations. And if I'm in a hero role thinking I got to live up to people's expectations, or I need to do what they expect me to be like. Yes, there's some responsibilities as a parent. And yes, you get to prioritize what do you value most in this moment. And like Nicole pointed out, sometimes that means putting the oxygen mask on you first, even if that means you're not the best parent in the world in that moment, and being okay with being human in that moment and stop judging and condemning yourself for being human. I mean, we are fucking human. And so being okay with being human will be key. And being okay with not being perfect at anything in any given moment is key. And then from there, just letting go, like, would you be willing to allow people's expectations to not be your motivating, driving force in your world? If your compass for your life is other people's expectations, then it's like I'm the captain of this ship, and then you start sailing where you want to go, and someone's like, well, I expect you to go north. And you're like, oh, shit, sorry. You start heading north, and someone else says, well, I expect you to go south. And so you turn around, and you're going to run your whole life in circles based on who expects you to what. So if you don't know you, and you don't love you, and you don't choose you, that don't mean you disregard everyone else in your world. You still stay committed to win-win. But win-win doesn't mean that everybody gets what they want all the time. My daughter didn't want to go to the school she's going to at first. My 14-year-old. Guess what? One of the best decisions we ever made, and she's actually happy about it now. Right? Sometimes you don't want people have an expectation for you to do something that's not in their best interest either. It's some other bullshit. So if you would be willing to let people have their expectations, and you know and trust and love yourself enough and be clear on your prioritized values and make your decisions from that place, from an authentic yes and no place that honors the highest and best for all, then you can stop worrying and having your navigation be other people's expectations. It can begin to be from a higher place that creates a better result for not only you, but for everyone in your world.
Yes. And
Totally.
then just to add in that, just real quick, and to love yourself along the way. You know, loving that one that's not gonna, meet everybody's expectations. Loving that, like, what did you say? The guilty one. Oh, that guilt that comes in. Oh, I get you, girl. I get you, girl. And so, can you hold yourself in a loving and compassionate way and be like, yeah, I screwed up today. I messed up today. Oh, whoa, look at this guilt. There's guilt here. And love that.
Yeah, to piggyback on what Megan's saying, that was exactly what kept lighting up for me. I love everything you all brought to this, and this is where I dig these conversations, right? Because it's so much yum comes in, and there's our sweet little soul yum baby, so yummy. But like this idea that going into the guilt, that's that layer of like, you got it, you're going in circles, because when you really stop and be, my hit from what you're saying is that's when the guilt comes up. So it's like, how do you then stop and be? That becomes your truth compass, and all of a sudden your shit's right there. That's a lot of times why we don't stop and be. We have this story, we're too busy, but really it's when we stop and be, we see it. And if we really get still and pay attention, it's right there. Our soul knows, your soul knows. It shows you all the time. It's learning. Your body shows you, right? It's learning these languages. Your mind shows you, right? Listen to your languaging, listen to your words. These are all pointers to your truth. Like Nicole said earlier, like I point people to their truth. I can't remember now, was that live or was that before? Because like it's all blending together. But it's that we all share this similar model of, I don't know your truth. Like I know who I am and be, so I can help be this mirror. It's like this reflection for different your truth. So in that word guilt, same thing Megan's saying, it's like tuning in, and the way I would play with this, right? We play with patterns because there's more wiggle room. This is how we can uncollapse a rigid point back into a wave function and pull in a new experience. So when you get playful and wiggly, you start to collapse your current reality. So tune in, notice in your body, where do you feel that? What is the sensation, right? There's feelings like that we put a label on, but beneath that, there's a body level sensation. Tune into it. It might even be like you don't even know because you blast the F out of your body. There's so many ways this can show up. Maybe it's like it's here in front of you. Maybe it's like I've had like a dark curtain in front of my eyes where I'm like, fuck, there's a gray stage curtain. My brain is so fogged, I can't access anything. Like, it can show up in so many ways. So there's not like a one way or a right way. So you tune in, find where that is within you, and that's where you can go in, and it can be real fucking simple. Love that part of you. Give that part a voice. Ask that part, my darling, what do you need? Because that part holds a purpose. That guilt is a mechanism that served you at some point. So it's like, how do you be compassionate with your guilt and get really curious, really playful, and then invite in new possibilities? That's what arose for me from that.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love how you talk to your body, oh, darling. Because it just feels like, oh, yeah, I'm with you now. It feels good. And if our being is happy, like, we have to focus on our beings. Like, it's not about, it's hard to, the more we do it deeper, we deepen our awareness, we start noticing what's our human conditions and society putting on us, and then what's like going on with our being. And I remember like the monks in India, when I was in India 2 months ago, they said something about our kids, and they just said, and we can practice this with ourselves, we can practice this with anyone that's in our presence. Is their being happy? Don't look at behavior, look at being. And like, I found that since I've been examining that my being can be happy, but I'm not totally okay with like external circumstances, if that makes sense. So there becomes this like distinction where we can still like be highly functioning and just feel better about everything that's happening.
So instead of bypassing like, well, yeah, I don't have money, but money don't matter. Go,
don't say that. It matters.
And then the swing side of that is, rather than bypassing like that don't matter, to, oh fuck, right? To somewhere in between that's like, yeah, I don't have money. I do have bills. I choose to pay these bills, and I'm not going to wait to be at peace until I have the money. I'm going to generate peace right now by taking responsibility for my state of being. And from this state of being, I will easily manifest the money, rather than being caught up and screwing up the opportunities by being either bypassing or getting so caught up in the drama that I'm not in a place of power.
And also going back to this, like what you're saying with the place of power, one of my favorite things shifted my life. I have my clients say this as a mantra: I am not a victim to money. We act like money is more powerful than us. Money is not more powerful than you. Like I said, you came out of a woman's womb. You were created out of nothing. You think that you can't sit here and think of ways to get money? You're lying to yourself. So as soon as we figure that out, we can go back to the peace and play and invite in our abundance. But for so many people, we're like literally aborting our abundance. It's like, here's a good idea. I'm not good enough for that. Here's a good idea. I don't know how to do that.
Yes, and more. Yes. and
not you gotta only say yes.
You can tell I get passionate about that. That's like one of my favorite topics. I'm like, don't be like that.
And not only am I not the victim to money, I am the source and creator of money, right? We have to own that space of money isn't happening to me. That, I don't have money, or money's happening to me, is a victim consciousness. If you say in those moments, I'm the source of money. It's not, I can pray to God, please send me money, or, sit and manifest. I'm going to practice the secret and just draw it to me. At the end of the day, I am the source of money, right? How am I showing up? What value am I bringing? How am I organizing my thoughts? What am I doing and being that allows or doesn't allow that money? There's no force outside of me that is punishing me or rewarding me with money. It's either I'm aligned with that money coming in, or I'm not aligned with that money coming in by the way, what I'm doing and how I'm being.
Right.
And I am the source.
Asking.
Yes.
People forget to ask. There's so much work around the law of attraction, which is a secondary law, I want to point out, but the law of vibration, it's like we're always expressing and then it's mirrored. We're not really having to attract it. So when we're doing that, people are like, I'm doing this, I'm showing up like this, but a lot of people don't ask. So it's like, ask for what you need.
Or even receive, even without asking. The other day, I was trying to walk through a door and somebody's like, here, let me get this for you. And my tendency was, I'll get it. And I was like, no, I'm going to receive. If someone wanted to offer me a compliment or a blessing or anything, even a door holding, thank you.
I'm seeing the synergy of these 2 points, because often it's like we ask, but then we don't receive what we're given. Like, we're actually given major freaking clarity at the soul level, this knowing, but we don't know it. Like you're saying, you're aborting it. You're like, no, not that. like the whole joke of like, I prayed for God to save me, right? And this helicopter came. I'm like, no, sorry, I'm waiting for God. And then a boat came. No, sorry, I'm waiting for God, and whatever. And then I get to heaven, and it's like, God, why didn't you save me, dude? I sent you a helicopter and a boat. Like, attention. And it's like that. Signs that we think like, I'm waiting for a sign. You give meaning to the signs.
Totally.
Yeah.
It comes in other ways in which we do not expect. But it's just to know also, like, it goes down to the simple truth is like just trusting.
Yeah.
Right. And we're just so taken care of in any way, like it, but it's maybe not the way we wanted it to be. So.
Totally. And I love that because that's often people go, you can create anything you want. And I'm like, bullshit. You can create anything that's in your fucking alignment. If it's aligned, it will create. You have to get an alignment. Because if it is not aligned for me, no. It's like I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat in the middle of the ocean if it's not aligned. And if it's aligned, somehow I could be in the middle of a desert and I will find that beautiful ocean and be swimming in it against all odds. And so that for me feels way more true than sort of the generic like spiritual bypass bumper sticker of like, you create your reality that almost becomes shamey and blamey, like you're talking about. We gotta act like that law of attraction is a secondary law. Like these nuances are so important, and I'm so glad you're bringing it up because there's a lot of people that show up as these experts on soul alignment or on this, and they miss a lot of pieces. And it's like, I'm still learning. We're all learning, and I think that's part of it is having that openness, the humility to like be open, but also like really getting clear on what are these universal truths? Because we live in a world too where people go, oh, there are no universal truths. Well, no, your truth is going to be different than mine, but there are universal laws and principles that we all connect to and have different experiences. So I'm curious if you can talk more about that because it's like up for me right now. It's up in the consciousness, like just that juiciness around kind of dispelling sort of this old model, because that's what it feels like to me, that this old crotchety dinosaur structure that was kind of even the new model is like even moving away.
Right. I will say this is like anyone that claims, like all of us, anyone claiming to be an expert or anything on any of these things, and this may be an unpopular truth, but like we don't know so much. Like we don't know what happens when we die. We don't know where we really came from. Like how are we going to like pretend like we know everything? All we can do is support with the best that we can. Now there are ways to access higher place. Know that just from my own self. And like the more that I ask and allow, because I'm a big asker and allower, but I do know that I cannot perceive my best interest, as A Course in Miracles taught me years ago. So I surrender to knowing that whatever is going to come, it may not be what I asked for, but I know it will be of my highest good. So I trust in that, just as some people are trusting in the full moon is going to be on November 4th. Like I trust in that because I know that the law of vibration is real. So it's the law of vibration is the law that I started really studying when I was like, you know what, I need to like really get clear on what I'm putting out in the world, because I know that I'm here to do really great things, but for some reason I'm still avoiding my money. For some reason, I'm still broke. Like, what's happening here? And it was these subtle energetics around studying that law and just knowing that everything that I put out is mirrored back to me. Yes. Everything is like oscillating at a certain speed. And I just have to understand that everything is connected. So I started doing these meditations and just reflecting on it. And, you know, it's like gravity. We can't see it. If no one ever named it, we wouldn't really know it's here. But because of science, we're aware of it. And there's other laws that are operating just like that. And the more we become attuned to them, we watch it, we trust it, we can. So I hope that helps.
Totally. Thank you. That's super soul yum. I want to hear what you guys share on that.
So yeah, we can take a deep breath here because that's what it's. That's what it's about, you know. I tell my clients, like, we don't talk a lot in our work because language is so limiting. And language, just in this one language, there's so many languages, but we can never articulate everything, the complexity that is us to truly be and to create and understand. You know, one of my friends was talking about psychedelics the other day, and I went out to see the sunset yesterday. And I was like, you know, we talk about visuals from psychedelics. What about this sunset? We've just become so accustomed to it that it's become so familiar that we forget, like, this is freaking miraculous. Like this, like life is miraculous. And moment by moment, it just brings us back.
Love that.
I'm really appreciating you, Nicole. It's fun to connect.
Thank you. Yeah, this has been great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I'm appreciating the different rhythms and the different flows and how when we go with that, we end up modeling these different states of being. And I love it, right? Like we can be at this really high, and then it's kind of the energy comes and how to move and flow, and just really appreciate when you move through that the way that, yeah, it's like this ever unfolding truth, right? This ever experience, and just coming back to this idea that it's okay to fuck up. And oftentimes people view not knowing what to say as a fuck up, and I want to really reframe that, because it's sometimes the most beautiful, perfect thing, just sitting and being and allowing. It's like that asking, receiving, and actually waiting for what's truly aligned and what wants to emerge now.
Yeah.
Yes. When I got that, oh.
No, go. You had some. I like your energy behind that.
When I realized like there's nothing I need to say, there's like nothing I need to say, that my presence is more than enough. That's actually when I gained my voice, was when I could love that part of me. Because I did. I was like, oh, I had all this wisdom and knowledge and so much I wanted to share, but like I'd go to say it, I was like, it wouldn't come out, like, or it sounded like crap to me or whatever. And it was like, I don't know, you know? And so when I acknowledged that and when I like became okay with that and like loved that, everything shifted. Everything changed.
Yeah.
And that's actually when my voice was like, okay, boom, like, okay, yeah, oh, there's my voice. And then I'm okay too. Like, I'm like, you know, sometimes I just sit back and I don't need to say a word.
Not just in that setting, but in our conversations as a marriage, you know, I was in this pattern of like, let's talk this out, you know, let's solve this. Oh, you got feelings, let's figure this out and solve it. She helped make this shift, and I knew better, and I was still stuck in the pattern. And she just like, let's fucking stop hashing this stuff out. Let's just shift our state and choose something different and be together and be all right with where we're at, and like let's move beyond the words. And it made a big difference. Thank you.
This comment's gorgeous. John says, when we learn the language of the heart, we no longer need to speak so much.
Yes. Have you guys noticed, like, there's just some people you just feel totally safe around? Like, that's something in the past, like, year and a half that I've been noticing. And it's just like, I love that, because they don't need to say anything. And it's just, I feel safe to be myself, to like come as I am. And I feel received, and it just feels beautiful.
Yeah. That being received is now one of my favorite, like truly connecting on a deep soul level and totally getting each other and receiving and being fully present with each other. It's just one of the things that I just enjoy more than anything in the world these days.
And we have to be that for ourselves. And I know for anyone that's listening that's like, well, I don't know what that is. And it brings it back to fucking up, actually, because, you know, I know self-forgiveness is a huge practice for me. And I tell people, well, every night before you go to sleep, practice forgiving yourself for whatever you need to clear for the day. And they're like, I don't have anything to forgive myself for. I'm like, okay, well, think of a phone call that you had or a conversation you had where you may have just felt like replaying what you should have said or whatever it is. And it's like, when we go into this place and we're like, I can love myself through all of it. I can see all of my humanness in all of this. I love myself anyway. We're fully receiving ourselves. Then we can be with someone and say, oh yeah, like we can catch our mind judging and be like, it's okay. I'm going to love them anyway. I'm going to be with them anyway. I'm going to receive them anyway, just as if it were me.
Yes.
And then there becomes this deeper intimacy.
Yeah.
I love
so
that.
Good.
It allows us to have passion for others. Go ahead, Christopher, please.
I want to hear from you. So I'm really appreciating the quality of the engagement from the listeners.
Yeah.
Getting some beautiful comments and questions. Just you, the listeners, thank you for engaging and helping edify and optimize this conversation. And yeah, all of your contribution has been just beautiful. I'm really appreciating the thread today. And we have a question from Carolyn. Do one of you guys want to take this, Nicole or Diana?
I'll read it, you take it. How's that, Nicole?
Okay, good.
So Carolyn says, I'm at an early stage of all the energy and vibration stuff. Does it make you feel a little crazy at the beginning? Yeah, it can. And how do I cope with being around low vibration, especially with people I love who don't get it? Thanks for answering in advance, Carolyn.
Okay. So I can totally relate. If anyone that follows my story, you know, what's funny is I come from a space of a lot of chaos, still verbal abuse, just a lot of drama, negativity. And I swear, my dad just accepted that I have a business that actually works a couple months ago, because before he would say, get a job. Like, you know, so it's always doubting and you can't do this and like, you know, love and all these things. And, you know, we develop this spiritual stamina and it takes time, but I'm all big about incubation as you strengthen yourself. Right? So it doesn't mean that you're running from anything. It's just knowing that you need to cultivate this relationship with yourself to really ground in your energy field and know what you're about. And when you get to know what you're about and what your energy is about and what you would like to have and your intentions are set and you feel grounded, although that's always, you know, maybe changing, you can allow people to come into your space and not let it to penetrate you the same way. So it's just developing that, and that's such a muscle. And, you know, we learn through contrast by being around certain things like, wow, that's not an energetic match for me anymore. That doesn't feel good. And like, we don't even have to overthink it, because like we're saying, you can just feel it. I can feel it in my neck, in my chest, in my belly when I'm around something that doesn't feel good to me.
Yes.
And I'm big on boundaries too. I'm just saying, this doesn't feel good to me. You're not going to speak to me like this. If this is going to be the way that we engage, then I'm not interested.
Exactly.
Hope that helps, Carolyn.
I'm really glad you brought up that piece, because that's probably one of the biggest things I speak about is how do we set healthy boundaries and how do we speak up truth and how do we do it in a way that's actually loving towards the other person and to ourselves and to ourselves first. It's that oxygen mask. If you don't put it on you first, you will not be able to help other people. And so it's actually become selfish to not do it. So it's like totally choosing you, committing to your own self-care. And that often looks like learning to really speak your truth in a way that's authentic for you. Because it's not going to look like it looks for me or for Nicole or for Christopher or for Megan. It's going to look how it looks for you, and noticing like, well, do I block myself because there's guilt? Or like watching what gets in the way of you being your full authentic expression in each moment. And then it becomes information and something to get more curious and playful with and to practice. Like, I love how you said, Nicole, it's a muscle. Absolutely. This is a muscle. And there is no like, oh, we've arrived. Oh, and like, we are enlightened. And it's like BS. It's like, there's always, infinite is infinite. And it's like, there is no end. There is no end to the rabbit hole. There is no center to that onion. You will keep peeling. You will keep going down. And at some point, it's like the secret is to actually stop and choose you and just be freaking okay with where you are. And we were talking yesterday about dance. It's like, it almost isn't even this journey. It's like, what if you could just dance and play and be so freaking present and just in that moment, and rather than future, past, or on this linear timeline, but just in this, it's like a quantum soul yum.
And, you know, I want to add one thing to this, because I think that like the next level to all of this for anyone that's listening, they're like, okay, well, maybe I'm more far advanced, because I deal with a lot of leadership, conscious leadership. And there's a shift from self-love and small preferences onto like, this is comfortable for me. This isn't comfortable. I like these people. I don't like these people, to devotion to potential. And when we live in devotion to potential, it's not about us or them anymore. It's about what's here for me to unfold. And can I really surrender to my highest expression? And I'm only living with what is in alignment with me being fully expressed. When you're in that space, you stop engaging in bullshit. You really do. And you don't feel guilty about it, because you're like, oh, this isn't about human Nicole anymore. This is about all the people that my yes is going to give permission to, all of the things that my yes is going to help people with. And it just becomes a different way of living. So I really love that.
Boom.
Yes.
Woo.
Beautiful.
That is a truth bulb. Lighten it up.
Rah, yeah. That was yummy. I felt that click.
And I even remember a post that I saw you write a long time ago, Nicole, and it was in it, you said basically like, I'm not looking to debate this. Like, basically like, here's where I'm at, or it was like, don't sell to me. It was something like, don't drop your MLM, and I was like, dude, I love this girl. And it was such a great boundary. Like, hey, I'm going to show up in my authentic expression on my page in my way. And here's my, my agreement that I'm making, right? We were talking the other day about, instead of rules, like having agreements, like this is the container that I'm creating. And if you want to come play, cool, but this is the way that I'm inviting you in. And if not, peace out, yo. Like that was the energy of it. And it was so yummy.
Yeah. We got to protect ourselves, right? We can't expect anyone else to do anything. And we're the ones that we create it. So just got to speak our truth and get better at it and better at it.
Yeah.
And be okay to fuck up along the way. That would be messy.
Yeah, I'm fucking up all the time. So it's, I'm fucking up and figuring it out. That's basically my motto. And, we figure it out. It always works out. It always does.
Yeah. There's another piece I want to bring in around that, because I talk a lot about being unapologetically you. And in that, it doesn't mean when we're out of integrity, we don't apologize. It doesn't mean that when we do something that nukes, we don't own it. It just means we don't apologize for who we are. And that there's this distinction, and that it's like bringing in that human messiness and that actually fucking up. It's like, it's like when a little kid is like, oh, I made a boo-boo, and they're laughing. It's like, if they could show up in that way in response to this idea of like, we blew it, it's like, did we really? Or actually, is it a gorgeous learning? And what beauty can come out of it, especially when we own it and speak to it. Like, we don't have to hide it. There's so much more gorgeousness when we show the messiness. It's just rich, open for potential.
Yeah, and I just shared, like, just in full transparency, like, it's still scary. Like, as my book is about to come out, it scares the shit out of me sharing this book. Like, it's all of my dark secrets together in one sequence. Like, it's not as I choose to share them. It's all of it. And if, so it's like coming out and sharing our truth and being human and showing our messiness is not always easy. And I'm not going to act like it's the easiest thing and I still don't feel it, So it's just honoring, like, well, why do I feel this way? What's coming up? And like, can I still love myself anyway and be willing to do it? So it's just it's like a super compassion. Compassion is a superpower for ourselves.
Yeah.
It makes me think.
And what if every step is right? Sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
Oh, no, just saying, like, what if every single step was right? Like, me selling drugs, me being in abusive relationships, me doing all these things, being broke, going on welfare, led to me being where I am now.
Yes.
It was all a part of it, every single step. So I can't discount certain steps and say, no, you were not good enough. And that was like a big shift for me of like, even the ugliest, messiest, most like judgmental, horrible thing that makes me feel shameful, can I shine light on it because it actually led me to the fuller expression that's here now.
Yes.
So I hope that helps someone.
Yeah. I recently just did this vision board, and I haven't done one in a long time, but I was like, I just want to get creative, right? Like, I want to get out the scissors in magazines. Like, I haven't done this for ages. And it just sounded fun. And I found these, little sayings, but one of the sayings that I have on my vision board is like, you can be scared, complicated, and messy and still show up.
Yeah.
I love that. And I like just appreciating you. Like, yeah, you guys, the fear's still gonna be there, right? And it gets messy and it gets complicated and all that, and we can still show up anyways. And like, I'm excited for what you're bringing forth and for showing up, because that is a gift. Like, that is a gift to show up in all of you, and the world is ready. The world needs it.
Yeah. So we'll see when it happens, right? But it's like, we all come up against thresholds. There's always a threshold, no matter where we're at. So we just have to just like take a deep breath and allow ourselves to move through it.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so appreciating your boldness, because the world really does need that. And, anything that makes a big impact, it makes a big impact. It's a big splash, and it's going to have polarity. And that's part of the youngness. It's like, if we're pleasing everyone, and sometimes maybe there is something that comes to everyone, although vanilla is really yummy, and so is chocolate, and not everyone's going to love both. One isn't wrong and bad. And so it's like what I'm loving so much and just honoring is that you're showing up so fully and that you are giving this gift to the world through your voice and your expression, and in it saying, like, look, this isn't easy for me. Like Christopher mentioned, with doing video and with speaking, I'm the same.
Yeah.
I explain myself as a shy introvert, and people are like, huh? It's because it doesn't match what they say. And I'm like, that's my experience. I've done a lot of healing around shame around shame.
And you know you had to show up. You're like, if I show up, but see, then that became not about you anymore.
And that's exactly.
It's not about me.
And that was my pivotal moment. The way I got on video was to say, if I can reach one person, it's worth my discomfort, because that's how I roll. I don't want to be uncomfortable, but you know what? I'm like, it doesn't matter. If I can pull someone out of a burning building metaphorically, hell to yeah. Okay, I can look stupid or messy doing it. Cool. Because then to me, the judgments don't matter. And so when I live my life that way, it helps me show up more boldly. It helps me actually accept the messy steps, that every step gets us exactly where we are. So there's no accidents. There's no, oh, if this had been different, yeah, you wouldn't be here right now. And that's where I look at it as perfection and the divinity that our humanity lives within. That's how I view it.
Yeah. I mean, suicide, loneliness, all these things are like very real. And there's people on the other side. We have these platforms that are just gifts that we get to show up for. And, you know, if I tell my clients when they're like, I don't know if I should do video, I'm like, if, like you said, if one person feels that, because, you know, I was that like mom in an abusive relationship, totally addicted to drugs and alcohol. And like I was functioning. People didn't really know about it. And I was at night, I would look up life coaches, rehabs, and like trying to find a way, right? And I just know that there's people that are also looking at me that way. They're not going to buy my program. They don't have the money for it. Maybe that's okay. It's not about that. So like that, we can get out of this, like, oh my God, my forehead's too big. Oh my God, I don't like this about myself, you know, and we just show up for the sake of connectivity and being human and being there for our brothers and sisters. And it becomes different. And I'll add that, like, you know, I was to write my book. Because Iyanla Vanzant, I watched her on Oprah when I was like 17, and her book and her story changed my life, and I clung to it like she didn't change her life till she was 34. Like, you know, I was like, I still have time to get my life together. And it was like an evidence, you know? So I want to be the evidence. So I'm willing to be totally uncomfortable and be judged for someone else.
Yum.
I love the yum.
Like we could just go for a whole nother hour. This is so amazing. It's been so delicious. I'm going to be wrapping up soon, but I would love to just one more question. I would love to know, and I know there's lots of soul yums for us, but I would love to know, what is really a soul yum to you?
A soul yum is just being, whether it's with myself or with someone else that I love, but just being myself and like connecting to life. Invisible life, physical life, just where you like kind of just transcend and kind of mesh into the veil of what is here and what's not here. I don't even know how to describe it, but it's those feelings of like everything is safe and everything is happening as it should. It feels really good.
Love that.
Thank you guys for having me. This was really fun, and I enjoyed all of your just energies that you brought into this.
Likewise, I thank you very much. You've been a joy. I look forward to connecting further.
Yeah, and thank you everyone who's commented and asked questions, and this has been really great too, reading and hearing from everyone. I know some of you. Some of you have been.
Anything else, Diana, or anybody, before we wrap?
Super grateful. Thank you for joining us, for being so in flow and play with us, and for really being part of this new conversation, because that feels so important. That what I'm loving is moving away from having to show up in like a stuffy interview format, which it can be really awesome. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But just inviting in this new possibility of like, let's get together, let's flow. This isn't scripted. Like, you hadn't even met Megan and Christopher until what, 3 minutes before. And oh, I forgot to let you know I have some amazing co-hosts. And we were like, great, fuck up. Like, that's awesome. And you just rolled with it. And that's so freaking beautiful and sweet and yummy and delicious. And I'm loving it, because this is what, to me, the world needs to see, is this realness. Like, I'm sitting here, I have chocolate on my teeth. All right, if I do, I do. It's like, because I'm drinking my yum while we're hanging out. It's like creating this. We got a baby in here, and like, you know, the reverb a little bit, and being like, what? How's it going to sound on the podcast? And being like, whatever, it is what it is, that it's not about perfection, that this is the juicy perfection, and really letting people into those pieces of our world, that more like intimate behind the scenes. And that, to me, is just, it's so beautiful, and you're just such a gorgeous gift to this container. And thank you for helping us really conceive this consciousness, because this is a new passion project. This is the SoulYumLife, and it's a thing. Like,
yeah, I love it. I love it. Feels good.
Yeah.
I like the pineapple too.
That was Diana's.
I like it. It just feels tropical and beachy.
Yeah, it's a central part to the Soul Yum, as you'll be seeing soon. So awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you guys.
Yum. Thank you, everybody. Have an amazing rest of the day.
Bye.
Wow.